Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today for this thought from the Bible. Do you know, I don't think that I've ever met anybody in my life who enjoys the process of being tested. I don't remember at all through my school days, through my time at university, I don't remember ever meeting somebody who would be celebrating like, yay, it's exam day. It's just not very common, right? There might be some strange people out there who enjoy those moments, but I don't think it's very common. You know, having to remember everything you've learnt, fearing what happens if you forget it all, fearing what happens if you fail. Those moments aren't particularly pleasant. And, you know, we all do face tests in our lives as well. Moments of difficult decisions that we need to make, moments where it feels like the things that we're striving for just aren't happening, moments where we question and doubt what God is doing in our lives because things feel so difficult, because things feel so far away from the promises and the dreams that He has given us. Now this week I was reading Psalm 105 in the Bible, and it's a little bit of a recap psalm. It talks about some of Israel's history, God's covenant that He made with Abraham, the tiny nation of Israel wandering from place to place without a real home. And then we reach the time of Joseph, and Psalm 105, 17 to 19 tells us this. Then God sent someone to Egypt ahead of them, Joseph, who was sold as a slave. They bruised his feet with fetters and placed his neck in an iron collar until the time came to fulfill his dreams. The Lord tested Joseph's character. The Lord tested Joseph's character. That does not sound like a very nice test. Am I right? Sold into slavery, bruised and beaten and imprisoned, his freedom completely removed. There must have been moments in that time when Joseph's faith was absolutely shaken. Why, God? Why would you give me these dreams and then leave me here in this mess? Why would you test my faith in such a horrendous way? Why won't you get me out of this situation, God? It has been years. There are many instances in the Bible, many verses that tell us that God does indeed test us. Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 3 says that the crucible for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the heart. And in James chapter 1 we read, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." And in 1 Peter chapter 1 we read that these trials have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. In multiple occasions in the Bible, these tests, these trials that we go through in life are kind of related to the refining of metals. In other words, taking us through the fire, through hardship, through pain, through difficulty. But why? Is there no slightly more pleasant way for God to develop perseverance inside us? Is there no less painful way for us to prove the genuineness of our faith? I don't think that you would be alone if you've ever had a moment where you've asked, like, if God really loves me, why would he treat me in this way? Why would he test me like this? But I've been really challenged by this recently, because God knows us better than we know ourselves. He knows what we need to refine us like a precious metal. He knows what will help us to become the people that we have the potential to be. His longing is that we would be mature and complete, that we would lack nothing as we learn that absolutely everything that we need for our lives is found in him. How are we ever going to have that realization if life is always easy? If we never face anything difficult in our days? It's only in our weakness that we learn that he is our strength. It's only in the moments that feel so far beyond us that we begin to see his power at work in our lives. It's only as our characters develop that we find ourselves in a position where we are ready to see the dreams that God has given us fulfilled. Like, God could look at that young man Joseph and say, one day this is the guy who is going to be the second in command of all of the nation of Egypt, possibly the most powerful nation on the planet at that time. But God could see that he was not ready yet. If he had thrown Joseph into the palace at that point in his life, without the training, the leadership abilities that he had learnt in slavery and in the prison, he would not have been ready. He would never have seen that God-given dream fulfilled, because he wouldn't have been in a position to receive it. God knows what he is doing. But that doesn't make it easy all the time. You know, a couple of months ago, as I finished work on my book ready for its release, I had a couple of weeks of just overwhelming doubt. I felt like, surely, you know, there's no point in any of this. I had a very strong urge just to delete all of the files on my computer, to burn this draft copy that I was holding in my hands. You know, being an author, writing novels it kind of makes a person intimately familiar with rejection, because, you know, I've tried publishing novels through literary agents, through publishing houses, and I get the familiar story time and again. Yeah, we like your writing, you know, you're very talented, but it's just not what we're looking for. That book's not what we're looking for right now. And it was easy for me to think that the same would be true of this book, that it wouldn't be what people needed, that it wouldn't be the encouragement that I prayed it would be, that it wouldn't be something that they were looking for. And I remember very specifically, as I was praying in that time, that I felt this moment of clarity with God telling me, I am not setting you up to fail. I'm not setting you up to fail. See, sometimes I think that that's the way we look at times of testing. We think that God's trying to push us so far to see where we'll give up and just throw in the towel and say, I can't do it anymore. But that's not the case. God is not against us. He's not testing us to play with us like puppets, to see at which point we'll crack. He is testing us so that we can be the very best that we can be, so that we will be in a position where we can see his promises and his dreams fulfilled in our lives. If God is for us, who can be against us. No one. God is on our side. God is for you today. He is not against you. And any test that you may be facing right now is for your benefit. It is not for your harm. He is not setting you up to fail in whatever situation you may be facing in your life right now, no matter how hard it may feel. He is setting you up to win. In slavery and in prison, Joseph learned what he needed to learn to lead a nation. Who knows what you may be learning in this time of testing, right here and right now? Who knows what amazing things the future will hold, things that you will only be capable of managing because of the growth that you have seen in this time of testing right now. It's not always going to be pleasant, but we need to remember that God is for us, and that through this testing, we are developing that perseverance. We are learning what it means to be mature, to learn what it means to be complete, to learn all over again that we lack absolutely nothing that we need for this life because we have the Lord Almighty with us. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that that was an encouragement for you. I'll be back on Wednesday next week with another thought from the Bible. So I will see you then.